Thank you, Neil. We'll open it up for questions, but before I do so, I think all of you saw that there is a press release available to you to pick up. If you want an electronic version of that sent to you, just drop off a card with myself or Leslie, or just write your name down on the pad there, and we'll see that we get an electronic version of the press release to you. Any questions?
Chief, what are you really hoping the residents do after they hear about this?
All 3 points. We would like community members, citizens, to be aware of these offenders. They continue to drive, they continue to drink, they continue to be a threat to our community, and people can be aware of where they live, what they drive, and tell their children and themselves to stay away from these folks. I truly believe that it will help dissuade others from these types of violations. The research shows that the public disclosure of these types of crimes really does make a difference, and I look for that to occur. And then I also think that as violations continue to occur, we will be noticed, the police department will be noticed, and we can take enforcement action. These violators really live in anonymity in the community. Most citizens don't know who they are or where they live, and accordingly can't call us when they see a violation. This takes away that anonymity, and citizens will be able to give us a call, and we'll do our part and take the appropriate enforcement action.
Have any of the 55 up there been involved in any DUI accidents involving injury or anything like that?
Yeah, it's a good question. We didn't check for that, so I can't tell you that we have. I can tell you that we average about 100 DUI crashes a year, crashes that involve DUI. I think it was 2008 we had 2 fatalities from DUI crashes or OWI crashes. And clearly, I mean, if you watch the newspapers around this state, there are many people that lose their lives and have serious injuries because of OWI.
You talked about how you thought this was manageable, but what are the difficulties going to be when either one of those people moves or somebody with 4 offenses moves up to 5?
Right. We at least initially intend to update this about every 6 months. And so from the management perspective, we'll go back to DOT, ask for another list, and then see who the new folks are that will be part of this project, and those that now are beyond the 5 years and will not be part of the project. So we'll do that piece. And then we need to, at every 6-month interval, go back and revisit those various methods that we use to verify addresses. This is a labor-intensive project. It's not easy, but we think that it's important, and it's our intent, at least at this point, to continue it for a very long period of time. But we do realize that it's resource-intensive. One thing that we're thinking about doing, and we're not ready to roll it out yet, but we may look for volunteers from the community to help us with this, because there are things that people in the community could help us in terms of researching the data as to where folks live. And I think this is the type of offense that people would be motivated to give us assistance. But we're not quite ready to start that yet. We need to take one step at a time.
Where did this idea originate from?
I guess I did, but that's not the story here. The story is people can have all kinds of ideas, but it's the implementation and the work that gets you to this day is where the important work is done, and it's Leslie Reed and all of the folks out in our records section and all the supervisors and officers that support this is what allows this to occur. So I really put less emphasis on the little bit of an idea and a whole lot more emphasis on all the folks that work very hard to bring it together and we're able to implement it.
I know you said this was all public information anyway, or just making it simpler. Are you concerned at all about, you know, the DUI offenders, any sort of like harassment with people now, you know, more so knowing where they live?
You know, I'm not, and here's why. The sex offender website has been operational for a number of years, and at least in Janesville, there has not been any harassment of those offenders. And statewide, I don't know of any incidents. There may be some, but it's certainly not a frequent occurrence. And I would think that sex offenders in a neighborhood probably could cause that harassment more than an OWI person living in the neighborhood.
Do you think this could lead to any false alarms? People calling and saying, "Oh, I think I saw this guy driving away. I don't know. It turns out it was his brother or sister."
Yeah, it certainly could. And that's why we'll go about our due diligence and conduct an investigation. We wouldn't take any enforcement action just on a call. We look at it as being a clue that we would investigate, and then if we're able to prove that there was a violation, we'll take the enforcement action. But yeah, it's certainly going to take some due diligence, and there needs to be an investigation supporting it.
Do you see any growth potential here? Might you guys go from 5 down to 4 where it's a felony in the future if this is successful?
Yes, I would like to go to 4. That is the breakoff point. It's that point in Wisconsin that it's a felony offense. And like I mentioned, that's where we intended to start. It's probably not all bad that we're starting with 5, because we can probably refine this and make it doable. But if we get this working very well, we could take a look at going down to 4 offenders. And I've got Leslie cringing in the back row here, but that is a possibility. And truly, that's probably where it needs to go to better support the community.
You said that nobody else around the country has done this, or at least to your knowledge. Do you think nobody's just discovered it yet, or do you see any potential downfalls or sort of negatives to this project?
Yeah, the amount of resource it takes to make it work is probably the only negative side that I can see. You know, we're certainly willing to share our experiences with any community that would want to do this, and hopefully we'd make their job a little bit easier. You know, in a perfect world, I'd like to see the whole state of Wisconsin do it. I don't think that's possible just because it's almost a community thing. I mean, we know best where our citizens live, and so we're able to make this work. It'd be very difficult on a statewide basis, I think, to make it work. The sex offender website works because there's law mandating reporting of addresses, and that's what allows it to work. There is no such law with OWI, and because of that, then it's a lot of our resources that are used to develop it.
How do you plan to assess and evaluate the effectiveness of all these resources that you're putting into this program?
Right. Some of it we can point to other scientific studies and research that shows that it is effective. And then we can look at various outcome measures. You know, how many clues are we getting? How many arrests are we making? And those types of things. I think it would be difficult to connect this project to reduced OWI arrests because there are many factors that can affect that. And I think the anecdotal side of it, again, I was really taken back this week when I've got the folks that are going to be exposed by this project calling us up and telling us it's a good project. That meant a lot to us.
Financially, is this costing you anything extra to do this project?
Right. We're able to use, I mean, there's no overtime involved. We haven't hired any additional staff. One of the faults I have as chief of this organization, I keep asking more and more out of these folks, and they keep doing it. But no, there's no additional cost to the community for it. Okay. Thank you, everybody.